Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is how to write post-metacogs. So post-metacogs are an easy way for you to gain back the points that you lost on a quiz or a test. And there's quite a bit of procedure to go with it, so I figured I should go ahead and make a video so that way if you ever have any questions or concerns about how you're supposed to do this, you can always refer back to the video on your own time and be able to get the instructions one more time as to how to do this. So let's go over first and foremost the rules and parameters for post-metacogs. So the first thing that you need to understand about post-metacogs is it's for you, it's not for me. You get to keep your post-metacogs after I grade them so that you can use them to study for your future tests. And remember, all of my tests are comprehensive, which means that you will get questions from previous tests all the time on your current tests. These post-metacogs are never mandatory unless I say so. In fact, I'm only going to make the very first test mandatory because so many people did so poorly on this particular test that I think it's necessary for you guys to learn the concepts and to relearn the concepts and be able to gain some of those points back. So that's why I'm making it mandatory. But other than this very first one, I really don't think it's all that necessary for me to make it mandatory. Remember that this is all on you and it's not on me. I'm never going to go chase you down and do post-metacogs. If you are getting a really poor grade in this particular class, like an F or a D, I will tell your parents about post-metacog for sure on back to school night. And if we have a parent conference, you can rest assured that I will tell your parents about them as well. So just remember that it's really the responsibility is on you and it's not on me. The available times for you to write your post-metacogs, to work on your post-metacogs, has to be in school because you need the tests in order to do them. So the available times for me is every day after school, unless I let you know that I have an appointment. I usually stay at least until 3:30, if not 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock sometimes. I will not stay after school on Fridays. So that's like my one day that I really just try to get home at an appropriate time. So you are also more than welcome to come during lunch and even before school, even though I don't recommend it because I won't let you guys start until 7:40, and as you know, class starts at 7:50. If you have me first period, that might actually be a good idea for you to come in at 7:40 and get started. Within 10 minutes time, you should be able to do about 3 problems. So that's the whole point, that you can earn back. We'll talk about that in number 7 pretty soon. So the deadline for all post-metacogs is 10 school days after the answer sheets have been passed back. And upon the 10th school day, it's very important that you get them in by 3:15 p.m. For every question you do for a post-metacog, it's worth 1/3 of a point. So if you're not good with fractions, just think of it this way. For every 3 questions that you do for a post-metacog, you get a full point back from your test. It must be handwritten and cannot be typed, and it must be in black or blue ink, and I must be able to read it. If I cannot read it, then I'm not going to count it. And I have the right to say that you didn't do enough and ask you to do more. Please skip a line in between all the questions. It's just to keep orderly and to be neat. And the tests are always going to be available in this folder that I'm going to show you after this video on the TA's desk as you walk through the door. So let's go ahead and talk about how to do true-false questions. So this is a typical question that you'll see, and as you can see, the answer is false. But let's say that you said that this statement was true. So let me show you what you would do for your post-metacog, okay? So for your post-metacog, you would write something like, okay, so when you're absent, you're expected to make up tests and quizzes within 3 school days. So that's what you'll say. So let me just read that out to you. When I am absent, I have up to 3 school days upon my return to make up all my history, tests, and quizzes. So that's what you would write for your post-metacog. Actually, you would, let's say this is question number 3. you would simply write on your paper number 3, and then that statement, and that would be your post-metacog. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in italicized so that you know that's what you're supposed to write for your post-metacog. Okay, so let's say that you're fill in the blank. Here, let's make this question 4. Okay, so let's say that you missed this question. And I picked this question because there was 2 particular answers. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because let's say that you left the first one blank and the second one you wrote Moses. So here's what you should do for your post-metacog. You should always explain why you left something blank. It actually takes way more time to explain why you did something blank than to write an answer. So I really, really hope that discourages you to leave anything blank. So you could say something like, the first answer blank because I honestly couldn't remember the term, though I remember it was something about a promise. Let's say that's the truth. Okay, and then you can say a covenant, because then you have to then actually explain what the answer is. The covenant. Oops, I misspelled that. So let's go ahead and correct that. A covenant is a promise, a 2-way promise actually. Promise between 2 peoples or party. Moses was not the prophet whom God made a covenant with, by the guy who brought down the 10 Commandments. Remember that? Abraham was promised his lineage. Oh, I don't know how to spell that. Oh, I spelled it right. Yay. Lineage would prosper and live long if he would always stay faithful and tried his best to make sure his children were too. Yeah, so you can see it takes a while to explain all that. So what you need to do is you need to explain why you did what you did, and then why the answer was wrong, and then why the correct answer was the correct answer. So yeah, it takes quite a bit to do a fill in the blank question. So let's do a traditional multiple choice question and what you're supposed to do with that. Oh, I forgot. I need to put this in italicized, and so you know that that's your post-metacog. So let's say this is question number 10. Okay, and this one was question number 21, let's say. Okay, so with question number 10, you would say something like, okay, so the first thing you gotta do is you gotta explain why you did not do the correct answer. So so you put D, monotheistic religion, and you're gonna say this is incorrect because, and I'm just gonna write it because I can't write and think at the same time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and write it first. Oops. Yeah, I'm really bad at spelling. Okay, so I'm just gonna read it out loud real quick. D, monotheistic religion. This is incorrect because Southwest Asia is predominantly polytheistic, and culture / religion preferences, not monotheistic, which is predominantly within the Western Hemisphere, Europe, Americas, blah, blah, blah. And you probably would want to put this on a separate line, actually. The correct answer is an emphasis on community, which helps the Southwestern Asian trade system. Okay, so there's that one. Then I'm going to go ahead and do this one because this one was kind of weird. The answer was all of the above, and you, let's say, gave the answer A. Rome gave the idea of the Republic. So what you would do is you would literally write all the other options again. So sucks to be you if you have an answer that wasn't all of the above and you chose just one of them. So what you would do is something like this. You would say, okay, so first of all, it's 21. And then you would say, okay, let's see, the correct answer was all of the following. And then you would actually say it, say what it is. So Rome's influence on government and democracy includes, and then you just write it all. Rome, the world, the idea of a republic, which let's say you chose. You're going to say that. And then all the other ones. Oops, no, I already did that. And again, oh, there was a typo. I forgot about that. It was supposed to be Rome, not Tome. Oopsies. So let's change that now. Okay, so there's that, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually indent all of the post-metacog answers, so it's like really easy for you to find once you go back to this document or go back to this particular video, so you can see it really easily. I think that would be really awesome for you guys. Okay, the last thing that we need to cover is the matching questions. So this one's a little awkward because it's kind of split page. Okay, so those are all your options, and the answer here was supposed to be Solon, and let's say that you said Justinian. So again, you would tell me why you wrote Justinian in the first place and why that's wrong, and then how Solon was the correct answer. So you would write something like this. Oh, let's say this is question. Let's say this is question number 42. Okay, we'll just make it up as we go along. Let's just pretend this is question number 45. I can't remember what it said, but let's just say it's 45. And then you're going to say something like, okay, so you're going to explain why Justinian was the incorrect answer. And then you can literally just rewrite like what the question actually said, because it's just an identification question and I don't need you to like overemphasize that. I'll correct the answer, the spelling on that later. Okay, there we go. Let me just change that. Okay, and that's our video as to how you're supposed to do all the post-metacog types of questions, because there's all kinds, and so I wanted to make sure that you have all of these to go to. And again, it's up to you if you want to learn from it. And then a lot of my students from my last school site would use these to actually study for the next test, and it proved to be super helpful. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me right now. Thanks.